Hey, this is Notser, and today we're taking a look at Project Cold War once again. We are coming to the end of this closed alpha. This time we're taking a look at Udarnik. Udarnik is a defender agent that specializes with a T80 or T90 variation. You can make it super tanky, super defensive. It's got an attack helicopter. So we're going to take a look at this tank slash agent and showcase some games for you. Yeah. So the loadout for this tank is pretty interesting. It has a mix of offensive and defensive upgrades early on. The perks are specializing as you would expect that a defender would, and the features also highlight this as well. So let's go through all of them. First up, we've got the features. Now, tough as nails, this is exactly the same as Atom, so I'm going to guess that neither one of them is final. Either this is going to change or Atom's is going to change. Probably Atom. But blocking 5 hits grants 50% improved reload speed and 50 hit point regen for 10 seconds. And the UI obviously supports this, and you can get this relatively easily. I wouldn't say every game it procs, but it procs enough that I value it. And then you have an autoloader. It's a 2-round autoloader. It has a 15-second reload, and it will reload 2 shells with a 3.5-second pause or recharge before you can fire the second one, and then it's 15 seconds to fully reload both of them. You can't sequentially reload it like, say, Raketa. It is a full reload, so there's no point in only having 1 shell in the auto-loading clip after finishing off a target, for example. You might as well just force it to reload, which you can do with the X button, or a different button. And as long as you can manage your autoloader, this tank can do a lot of gun damage. You also have Airstrike. Airstrike is an attack helicopter that will strike an area for a grand total of 750 to 850 AoE damage. This actually occurs in 2 separate attacks, so 400 and 400-ish. And it gives a player ample time to react. Now, you can combo pretty nicely with the auto-loading and the airstrike to detrack a target underneath the airstrike and maximize the potential damage on them. And then finally, smoke grenade. As you would expect, it puts a curtain of smoke in front of your tank. Now, Udarnik is obviously a defender, a defensive defender, and it is one of the few Soviet/Russian defenders that you can choose from. The other one, of course, being Atom, which is that great big nuclear war designed behemoth for 4 tracks. So a little less standard. This is more standard, and it works quite well. Obviously, Soviet tanks low to the ground. They don't have the best gun depression as other tanks might have, maybe American, who have a taller stance. But the compactness works in your favor. It minimizes the amount of shells that could actually land on you. And as long as you focus your armor in the right places, you can block a lot of shots. Not necessarily as much as Atom, but a very good amount. Now, for perks, the first perk is 5 seconds on your repair kit, so effectively does 5 seconds more worth of heal. Improve your forward momentum by 2 kilometers per hour, or improving your energy rate, increasing your energy rate by 0.25 per second. For the second perk slot, this further improves your repair kit, an additional 5 seconds, an additional, and it improves the reload rate. To me, the Defender class just needs Master Engineer or the equivalent, whatever they call it for the others. This just allows you to be more active with your repair kit usage, and who doesn't want to be more active with it? This protects your tracks and engine, reduces the repair time to get them back up. So if you're just constantly being tracked, this might be your ticket to avoid that. Collision course. This greatly improves ram damage and reduces ram damage to the front of your tank. So that's a nice perk. For example, that perk would be the 10th upgrade for Raketa. So you can get it as a perk, and it honestly doesn't compete very well with other perks in that slot. So yeah, you can choose what you want. Um, I always will go for a repair kit though. Enhancing the repair kit makes perfect sense for a defender, and I think it's the best choice there. For the third perk slot, Field Gunner improves the aim speed and improves your AP and heat shell critical damage against a module. Or it passively reduces your gun reload by 10% and reduces your energy drain per second while sprinting. Now, I don't necessarily see the value in these right now compared to gunner aiming, but that doesn't mean that they might not be valuable in the future. I don't think everything is turned on in the game, and I'm curious what the different shell types will, create from a balance standpoint. Now the upgrades. So Udarnik is a defender. So the first slot, it protects your lower plate or your side. So you can choose to enhance your lower plate from AP, DS shells, or anything like that. This is great for when you're trying to hull down and forward face them. Whereas the side skirt is going to work better against heat shells from the side. It does offer more absolute hit points compared to the lower plate, but I think the lower plate is more valuable because it's such an obvious weak point that everyone's aware of. So covering that up is good. Slot 2, you can choose to make your gun do 100 more damage and 50 more module damage. Now, I'm going to get into the module damage in a little bit, but this also encourages most modules to break in one hit. Now, effectively, what that means is with a single shell, you should be able to track your opponent if you've got, corner pocket aim on them. For example, if the tank that we're looking at is slightly angled like this and we fire around right here, well, we're going to get the track. It's going to go into the hull and potentially crit. This is just a really great upgrade to install on it. It makes it function so much better at detracking. Before this, it's not really a good detracker. Faster turret traverse. Okay. The turret does traverse slow or critical or shell speed. So this is to try to encourage longer range engagement and crit focus. If you focus on, weak points of an enemy tank, you can crit pretty reliably. So to me, the damage and module damage just makes the most sense. And the hard hitter, it effectively, it encourages you to go for tracks on all your targets because you're always going to track them with the first shot. It flows very nicely. For upgrade slot 3, we can choose between improved gun dispersion or a chance of hitting the target, the first shot reticle size, so the bloom after the first salvo. I didn't really find that was a big deal. I didn't necessarily unload as quickly, and if I did unload quickly, I was close to the target, so not as valuable to me. This one improves the effectiveness of the vehicle while moving. It just makes everything more stable so the reticle doesn't bloom up. And then the final upgrade in slot 3, this improves your penetration power, shell speed, and this effectively makes it even more potentially possible to break their tracks and to bust into the modules that actually matter to damage. It ends up working out really nicely, and I really like it. And the games that you'll see, the later ones will show off just the combo of all this combined, how frequently I detract. Slot 4, improved maneuverability, improved protection from crits, and improves your engine durability. Or you can improve your gun handling once again. I choose to improve the mobility of the tank. It is pretty slow and sluggish, and I just think this will close up that weakness. Slot 5, you can choose between protecting your ammo rack on the back half of your turret or improving your turret traverse and potentially improving your mitigation of ability damage. So that could be TV missile, that could be airstrike that we use with our attack helicopter. It could be the B-52. Those sorts of damaging abilities will get mitigated from this upgrade. However, I don't know. I don't know how frequently my gun gets crit back here, whether having the improved turret traverse would be beneficial. You do have a problem where fast-moving agents can sidestep your gun traversal, so this might cover up that weakness that is something that I detect in the tank. For slot 6, you can improve your airstrike's range and energy costs. You can improve your airstrike's damage and increase the total energy. Or you can improve, once again, your gun performance. I don't know. I'm getting better at comboing with my airstrike, so I might go for more damage, but having better gun performance is always a nice benefit too. So, this one's a little up in the air for me. I'm still developing the comboing strat that works best for this. Slot 7, improve your smoke ability. You can use it more often and it costs less. Improves your gun accuracy, aiming speed. This one seems pretty nice, and honestly, I like the model that they place on the tank. It's a further, making it more interesting to look at. Or you can improve your spotting and allied comm range. I think allied spotting and comm range is pretty bad on this, but is it worse than any other upgrade? I would need to play it more to know that. I would probably lean towards gun performance if it was just me. Now you can enhance your tracks to be heavy tracks to help protect them from being tracked. It's okay. You could use this to protect your fuel tanks and crit damage for fuel. Or you could use this for mobility and further enhancing that. So protect your tracks, protect your fuel, or enhance your mobility. I like enhancing the mobility. I just think that's going to work. And plus, traverse speed. Once again, you enhance your traverse speed by enhancing your mobility in Udarnik. So I think both of those together pair really nicely. You can always angle your tank more optimally, and that works well with traverse, so you don't necessarily need the other upgrades. Just my thoughts. You can improve your ammo protection, or you could choose to improve your crew ability to survive. I am not as familiar with the crew effectiveness to the tank's performance. Maybe the game can further define that, so I'm not sure if I would take this. Or once again, we enhance the maneuverability of the tank. Hear a theme? I think I'm going to go maneuverability, and it enhances your traverse speed again. So you're just going to have really good hull positioning, and it's really optimal. So having the front plate like that, and then having really good traverse speed, so you're always facing, it really works really nicely. I could potentially fight an atom and not be as uncomfortable as I would inherently be because I have better mobility. And the airstrike works well against him. And then slot 10, you can choose to add a third shell to your autoloader, which sounds really nice. That would be very chunky. Or you could enhance your airstrike's maximum damage by decreasing the range of it. I think that's a lot to give up. Or you can enhance the hull protection. It will negate some of the traversal speed that you've added to the tank, but it protects your ammo rack and enhances your hit points. So, for me, I'm probably going to go for damage because I think that killing them quickly works in my favor, and the good recovery allows me to finish a target off and then heal immediately after that fully and go from there. So I think overall, mobility, armor, and quite a very impressive gun system are attached to this tank, and I've really enjoyed my time figuring out how to best make use of airstrike with it. The airstrike cursor leaves a lot to be desired, but I'll show it when we get into the game. Consumables, your typical consumable repair kit. Of course, you're going to use repair kit. And your other choice is either energy boost, extinguisher, or med kit. I don't really know about any of those. I'm trying to earn tanks, so anything that costs soft currency right now is just not on my radar. But yeah, I think Udarnik has a lot of potential to be a successful defender, and I like the auto-loading mechanism attached to it. It has a nice play tactically. and it's very rewarding to pull off that play. So hopefully you guys will appreciate the games that show off the tank, and we'll get a couple of those D-track into airstrike into crit plays that I was talking about. All right, so we're in a Conquest game mode, 10 versus 10. We are in the Udarnik. This is the Defender, the Soviet T-80, T-90. I'm probably like 3 or 4 levels in, and initially the tank is a little sluggish. You know, the traversal of the turret is slow, the hull is slow, the maneuverability is slow, but then you get, with your first upgrade, you can protect your lower plate. By default, I think the lower plate is a known weakness of Udarnik. The other option in the first slot, of course, is the side skirts, which they don't really cover up a clear weakness that obviously players would always key off of. I like to create a tank that has at least one side that is almost impenetrable. That way, if I point that side towards an opponent, I am able to absorb damage that would, go for a potential teammate that isn't as aware as I am with regards to damage. So it's part of tanking, and I think that that's what you need. As far as Udarnik, if you want to make it the best possible tank, I would cover up the lower plate weakness. It's just a clear, glaring weakness that is taught in World of Tanks 101, so everyone's going to know the lower plate is where you aim if you don't have any other part. And come around after taking A, and the Atom's here. And, normally I would go for a track, but it's the Atom. I cannot track him, so instead, we're just hoping that he'll drive around our stuff for a while, and we're able to ram him because someone did a nice damaging shot as he drove into us, and we'll try and recover. The repair kit can be enhanced quite nicely and through perks, so by enhancing it with the perks, you're really just making yourself a better tank in the game. There's really no reason not to. We track him, we get the corner pocket, and teammates are able to follow up and finish him. We'll capture B, and we're cool with that. A point and B point, we can drive to the other points, since those seemingly are the ones that the enemy went for, so they still have 3 bases to R2. And as I'm going over, I'm aware that there's an attacker that's also potentially going this way, but teammates are already on the scene, and I'm just trying to help. We'll, of course, get capture credit. And yeah, this guy, we saw exactly where he's going. Track him once. Looks like he used his repair kit, follow up, and now he's stuck there. And it plays really nice. It's as if they conceived this tank as the D-tracking tank. Because the second upgrade, or the third upgrade, one of those, it enhances your module damage, and it has a passive that basically breaks your modules at shot. So what that effectively gives you is first shot confidence that you will D-track or crit the engine, or knock out the ammo so it's less effective. Either way, the first shot is going to debilitate your opposing tank, and you will effectively have a stronger tank going forward. So as long as you can hit reliably that module, you really are set up for success with this. Nice. Able to keep him pinned, and my airstrike does tons of damage. We get the ammo rack crit. I was looking for the second ammo rack crit, and boy, that sucked. He's able to get us. Unfortunately, the Kent's on our butt. He knows exactly what he's doing. Right at the last second, we activate our front man, and these two just drive in, trying to make sure we're dead. Fine. I guess I'm that cool that you have to throw everything at it. That's what they should do, but we won't just accept that that's how that's going to go, Kent. Nope. So yeah, once again, Udarnik headed out towards. I enhanced the damage of the guns as well. So everything that I've done is to improve the mobility while enhancing my damage throughput and enhancing my ability to immobilize or affect the mobility of my opponent. So I'll always have a mobility advantage. even if they're a super fast tank. So it's nice to have the 2-shot clip. I would really like the 3-shot clip. Chopper's dead. We would just, the best way, we're not trying to be sentimental. We're trying to get rid of targets so that our team can push forward. And if you've got a flank with a guaranteed shot versus a player that could potentially block, I mean, go for the flank. Set up our attack rocket on the enemy. He retreats out of A. And looks like A point's actually going to be theirs. You could take it. It's going to blow up in 20 seconds, so he tracks us. We activate our repair kit, and I get in the way. Looks like he's going to go for another tracking shot, which of course he does. And 3 seconds left, 2 seconds left. None of us are getting out. I was a little bit of a jerk there. I tracked the first target, and the second target I kind of slowed him. But I'm trying to help my team. You know, that's 2 versus 1. The trade is in my favor. I'm faster than the Atom, so if he also respawns at the exact same moment, if I go a long capture point like A or C, most of the time I'm going to be away from him so he can't affect me. So yeah, Atom, of course, superior armor. It does more direct damage per shell. And they're both Soviet, so they might have similar themes. Once Atom gets his kit, I don't think he's gonna. That's his final. So he might have a different defensive mechanic. The frontman trait. The frontman trait here works really nicely. I can reliably activate it against normal targets. So, you know, I feel like it works out well. Now we bump into 2 attackers. And I actually track him. I push him underneath my airstrike. And then we actually pop the fuel tank for the Reaper, and I ram him basically into the wall so he can't get out. So we effectively got that as cleanly as he could, just waiting on the gun reload. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And I really love being able to push him so easily into it. Well, Atom will not be, and we block 1 shot. That's nice. Can block another shot, that'd be even nicer. Here comes the shot. Woo! Slide right by. Oh, that play. Beautiful play. So what I was attempting to do is bait the ram attempt by the enemy heavy, or defender, by the defender tank. By baiting him to ram me and juking the ram at the last second, I'm able to slip by and use my superior mobility that I can then follow up and finish him. And if you can reliably perform that against opposing tanks, Udarnik is even more potent. Because in close range, very well defended, tight, small package that it plays well in that little what is it? It's like fencing. It's like setting up a follow-up play. And the mobility leaves a lot to be desired early on. I definitely agree. It's not easy to perform that play, at least initially. The rank 1 or level 1 version of Udarnik leaves a lot to be desired. The guns are still really nice, but everything else about it leaves a lot to be desired. As you level it up, you make the guns basically the best guns in the game at module damage. You can effectively knock every module out the first shot. So obviously reliable tracking is really nice, and it flows really good. The airstrike eventually gets upgrades, but the airstrike upgrades, they're almost side grades with the way that they work. You know, they're like trade-offs. But yeah, enhancing the gun so that it's more consistent at knocking those modules out. At this range, it's really hard for him to damage me, and we actually track him. But we don't get any damage because it was the outside track. If it was the inside track, then we would have a potential to also pin his hull. So I decided to drive up to him. I don't know why I decided to drive up to him. I should have kept my distance or trying to track him again. Since he's a sitting duck, we're going to activate. And I'm going to track him again. Oh, the airstrike. beautiful damage. Yes, friendly follow-up. Poor Chopper. Poor innocent Chopper. Just finish the Chopper off. We're just gonna go top of the hull. Sorry, the top of the gun turret. Because I enhanced the penetration with, I think, the 3rd upgrade, I don't really care about most tanks' turret armor. It just seems to be so soft relative to the pin factor at that range that I can reliably pin most. So yeah, you don't want to be close to Udarnik in a 1 vs. 1. And honestly, Udarnik at range has pretty decent armor if you're facing towards the target. So we spawn, and we were at C point. Because of the mobility enhanced that I've gotten so far, I choose to go A. It is being contested, but also the added benefit, if I go A point, and I was just at C point, potentially I have influence over both sides, and then I can easily transition, maybe go A to B, or back to A. I could transition further. I like the way this map flows, and I notice, okay, we got a couple enemies over there. Whatever. I use my heal, get back to fully health, and we're approaching.
Enemy progress stalled.
Causes track. Very nice, very nice. Very, very rewarding. I know I keep beating a dead horse with this, but the way that this tank knocks out a module is so satisfying that it's almost the first thing you look to do because it is. So of course we knock him out, his track, and then I get a crit on his fuel, which further slows his mobility. He's not in a upgraded Titan though. If he was an upgraded Titan, he would have been able to repair his track and start maneuvering again. As it is, he just has to eat it. And eat it he shall, apparently. Make him look kind of silly. But that's what you can do. If you manipulate the strengths of this tank against your opponent, you can easily have them tracked or engine, and you can easily rotate around them using your superior mobility and position yourself effectively almost, cannon safe from incoming shells because of the way you can manipulate the engagement. So yeah, just really satisfying. So once again, going for the track. Once again, finish the target off. We actually didn't get the last salvo, but we did a crit track, which there's nothing better than that. If you can crit them and track them, capture A point. We're gonna head over towards B point. I think there's someone in between. And yeah, we also fulfilled the counterattack, which is nice. So yeah, we're headed over here. Looks like there's some defenders potentially over here. There's also a attacker on my right flank, but I want to try and minimize the threat of the chopper. And someone puts a little silence on us. It's okay. Chopper pops his smoke, fire into his turret. He dies to a friendly, but he would have been dead either way. We actually sustain pretty high damage that tracks us, but I'm able to use my repair kit, and then I drop into cover. Obviously the chopper, he's engaged, so he can't counter our play. He was dead either way. I love how low this tank is, because the cover, it's absolute on some of these bases. Other tanks, like the M1 or the Titan, the M60, they're much taller. Even Atom is taller, so they would poke out to potentially have players firing, which, no, not ideal, but clearly I have more than enough. I'm short enough that there's no threat to it. We blocked some incoming shell. I actually went AFK for a second because my cats were doing something. But we're taking shell fire from something in the front, and they crit us finally. Please come back to your tank, Notser. It's in danger of dying. We don't want that. Yes, there we go. We're back. Just barely. 70 hit points. I'm going to duck into this M1 carcass, absorb the shots, and just allow my health to recover. Look at how awkward the airstrike cursor is, though. You can't even, like, aim through solid cover like that. You have to have direct line of sight. We ammo racked him into our airstrike damage. Teammates finish off the second player. Able to reorient myself. And we're going to deal, hopefully, with this defender. He's showing his side turret, which should easily be a kill. Never mind. Teammate takes him out. We get a couple more blocks, which is nice. We actually track him there. We're looking for another track. Now, I think I followed up too quickly for the second track. I should have allowed him to repair the track and then fired. But that's kind of a newbie play by me, just trying to get more comfortable with it. Friendly finishes him off as we approach this cap in conflict. Gonna cause him to stick around, and teammates finish him off.
Strategic location under control.
Really, really satisfying tank to play. Love the initial immobilizing play. We'll just say immobilize because you could detrack him, you could get the engine, you know, whatever. But an initial immobilizing play followed up into a crit play, most likely, followed up into an airstrike, which could potentially follow up into 2 more salvos. So, or two more salvos. That was a ship term if I've ever been one. But 2 more shells, you can do a lot of damage with that play, and it just is reliable and useful and successful. So I really enjoy the tank. I find it just a pleasure to play. Definitely going to invest time in unlocking this tank when it goes live. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. It was always a pleasure. If you enjoyed it, please leave in the comments what you think. And yeah, top on the team, nice. Udarnik doing work. Really fun defender. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all have a wonderful day.